Welcome back to Judging Bouncing Balls. Toby, how are you doing?
We're doing well today. Beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day. What's the temperature over by you? It was like 150-mile-an-hour winds and 40 degrees here.
Yeah, we hit 50. We hit 50, 51 today.
Sounds so good.
Snow is down to 5%. I think it's just dirty ice right now, so it looks horrible, but
Yeah.
we're gaining on it. Yeah, it's kind of nice.
This is that messy time of the year where everything starts to melt and freeze and melt and freeze. It's just, and I can't wait till next week. I know you probably got it too. It's supposed to be in the 70s. Oh, everything's going to melt. It's going to be so great.
Oh, I'm going to complain that's too hot.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's.
This body's not made for 70.
Oh, that's so yeah. So we got that to look forward, which is good. But it's just going to be you and I tonight. We had a little family conflict where we couldn't have our guests, so hopefully that'll be next week. But that was kind of last minute, but it is what it is. Family comes first, and so that's the way things go. So it just gets you and I tonight. It's going to be a good time.
We're not big enough yet to override the family, you know.
Someday that'll come.
Someday.
People are just put their kids on hold just to get a chance to talk to Toby and Jeremy.
Right? They should. I did see. Did you see we bumped up in subscribers?
I didn't. Oh, I know why. So there's a reason why. When we stream those games, I'm like, hey, if you want to know when the next game's coming, subscribe. And so a bunch of parents started subscribing, I think. So I think that's why.
Damn, I thought we were 10% greater just because we were killing it.
Well, I'm sure
we always got to.
I'm sure that's part of it too. I mean, John Mino was a pretty good. He was a pretty good show, if I would say so. I thought that was a good time.
The feedback from John was excellent.
Yeah.
Everybody remembers John Mino from the morning show and everything around here. We will be having him back on. He was great.
Yeah, we definitely need to, because there's so many things we didn't even get to talk about. And that guy, I said it on the show, but he's seen everything. So, man, there's so many more stories there. I would love to hear more of his stories about the Mariucci or the guys from up north. I mean, I thought that was some really cool stuff that he's gotten to experience.
Did you see at the last end of the podcast, though, like you dropped off?
I know.
And it looks like me and John are just staring. We're like, because we're hearing you. And then also I'm like, what am I doing? Like, say something. And then John answers a question. I'm like, oh, okay, good. At least I'm not just staring.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, and then it screwed up on the recording. I didn't even see it because I listened to some of it before I posted it. I'm like, okay, dubbing is good, everything's good. We don't have that issue where it's like, and then right at the end it happened. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I gotta try to figure that. Just like whatever, I don't know anymore. Obviously, we haven't figured this out, so I'm sure there are people just laughing at us. But
oh yeah, but I did think I got us a sponsor.
What?
Yeah, with some. Don't want anybody listening from the IRS. But I was I went to the Brewery game on Monday for the opener, and I went down with some buddies, and they were asking questions, and I said, well, they were asking about advertising. I said, well, we're not there yet. We haven't formed an LLC yet, and we're waiting for a sponsor. It costs some cash. And he's like, I'll pay for it. So, and nothing's been solidified. So I told him nothing will happen. He does have hats. So when you get a hat in the mail, that means
and cover up this.
Yeah, we'll get to that. By the way, we'll get to that.
Hey, I wish there's no way for me to share this on the stream, but I mean, Toby,
right?
famous.
On the right
Look
side.
at Toby was on TV. Woo!
That was a mistake.
How'd you get on TV?
Gear, right? Bouncing. If we'd had judging bouncing ball gear.
Oh.
I don't quite know how I got on TV, but I will say my friends got 7th row behind home plate season tickets. So
nice.
They are phenomenal. But the problem is the camera always was from left center. So it kind of went. That's where that what's her name? Touchdown Amy, or I
Speaking
forget.
of judging bouncing balls,
But if you what is I forget her nickname.
sorry, I just threw your
But
train of thought off there.
right, yeah, good point. Now I get where you're coming from. So it kind of focuses on that section more than our section. But I stood up and I must have been cheering on the old home run we saw, the grand salami. So
Nice.
yeah, all of a sudden I had two buddies reach out and they're like, "What are you doing on television?" And I'm like, "I didn't even know I was on television."
Hey, you were made for television. That's what you should respond.
Right? Well, the best part is I said it to everybody I do, including you.
Yeah. Hey, I would too. I don't think I've ever been on a broadcast, been on TV on a broadcast that I know of. So I would share that
I've
all over the place.
I've been on ESPN twice.
What?
When Tony Bennett was at UWGB, they would make the tournament would always come to Green Bay for the Horizon League, and in the championship game, ESPN always broadcast every conference championship game. And my dad and his friends had seats like 4 rows off the court, right behind the players.
Okay.
And the nice little lady next to me gave the cameraman from ESPN cookies and asked that she could get on television. And he
Nice.
was like, "We'll see what we can do." So, but beginning of the second half, the cameraman turns around, points it at the nice old lady, and Captain Idiot here jumps in front of her like, "Wow!" Oh,
So no cookies for you
front
then.
and center. Nope. And then we went to a Brewer game in college, and we were sitting in the outfield. There was nobody there, and Mark
Okay.
McGuire hits a bomb. And when they scan the outfield, and there's 4 guys, and all of us scatter, and the ball bounces right where we were. And so now it wasn't my face.
Hey.
I've also been on Jerry Springer, but that's a different
What?
story.
Oh my gosh.
I was in the audience. It was the greatest day ever.
What was the topic of the day? Do you remember?
It was a trans person coming out to their boyfriend or their girlfriend. It was a boy that was dating a girl, and then he was cross-dressing.
Hmm.
And there's a long story how we got there, but we're not going to worry about that right now. But
Okay.
every time Jerry walked by me, I shook his hand. I'm like, "Jerry, you're the king." And I did it like 3 times. So we go into a commercial break, and I thought we were all chirping at the boy turn into a girl.
Mm-hmm.
But evidently it was my comments that pissed him off. So he came to the front of the stage, and he's pointing at me, and I'm pointing at him, right? There's security everywhere. So everybody got to calm down. But
So the guy on the show came and yelled at you? Oh my God. I would love to make that some version of that the title of the show, but I don't think we're going to do that.
Right. It's cool before it's cool.
Oh,
Oh God.
wow.
These stories. I got a lot. I lived a
Toby,
lot of life.
you have lived a lot of life. That is correct. That's crazy.
I never said no to any, like, if they're like, "We're gonna do," I'm like, "Let's do it."
Huh.
Like there was a sign in Marquette in the bar that I was at a couple weeks ago in Marquette, Michigan. It said, "You can retake a test, but you can never relive a party." I'm like, that is me.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was an exciting week of baseball and soccer. Oh, I'll get back to it. I was asked on Sunday night at our soccer meeting that Macy did end up making varsity. So we've had a
Awesome.
pretty good push here. Yep.
That's really cool.
For 2 games. Yeah, it was a nerve-wracking time, but it was on her shoulders, not mine. I mean, I just drive around. But she did great. We ended up playing in the cross 2 games. Blew a tire coming out of the cross on 94. That was awesome. Shout out to the Walmart in Toma that you got to stop paying guys by the hour because it is taking them a long time to fix a tire. long time. When I say long, I mean long.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
No, but we made it home, and then we played last night. Last night already. I'll tell you, I love high school soccer. It is every other night. Um, it is like there's no downtime, and as you do, I love the games. You're on the sidelines, lucky.
Yeah, it is fun. I honestly, we haven't we had the weekend of games. We had 3 games over the weekend, but I'm jealous of you guys because we've got like breaks in our schedule. Like we don't have any games this week. We have 1 game next week, I think, and then the other one I think got moved because their field wasn't ready. So it's like I just want to keep going. Like I heard you talking about a game yesterday, a game tomorrow. I'm like, I want to do that. That sounds fun.
Yeah, yeah. There's no rest. I mean, and for me, this is what I love. So I love to
Yeah.
get out of the house and go sit. I went to half the JV game. I went to a lacrosse game on Sunday. I'm trying to soak it all in before it's over.
Yeah. Yeah, and it goes quick. That's the other thing. The spring season is such a fast season. I mean, it's over before you know it. And so, yeah, it's one of those that you gotta love it and live it while it's there,
Yeah, our friends to the south, some of the girls on our daughter's teams, that made varsity are getting some playing time as well.
which is awesome to see.
Kimberly's off to 100%. I mean, it's a real testament to our club coach and our club and
Yep.
our team that these girls are all getting minutes. I know your daughter had a successful weekend.
Yeah, she had a fun start to the weekend. I think we had out of all of our team, the Wisconsin United girls. Man, we must have had. I think almost every one of them played in high school soccer in that first weekend, which was awesome.
Yeah, yeah, and this is a time to get the playing time because people are beating up on people, and Bayport kept 18, so right now, so it's a good number for playing time.
Yeah, that is a good number for playing time. Yeah, you'll definitely see a lot of minutes there. Yeah, and so I mean, it's definitely a different situation with Spash. I mean, we definitely have a lot more Spash, freshmen playing than a lot of the other clubs. So I know it's a little different, maybe not quite as impressive because I know like Kimberly, if you get on, they're a really good team. Bayport, really good team. You get on the varsity squad as a freshman, that's pretty impressive. That's really good.
Yeah, but Spash is building. I mean,
We hope that's the goal. No, I say that in jest, but I mean, I really do. I really like a lot of the young talent on Spash. I mean, there's a lot of really good freshmen. So we'll see what they can be in a few years. I mean, we're starting at a lower point, but hey, you got to start somewhere, and makes it all more sweet when you can build it up. So
yeah, no, that's fantastic, and just some success early by putting the ball in the net. That's the fun part.
yeah,
Minutes are great. You go through the trauma of trying to make it as a freshman, and
hmm
then you get the call that your daughter made it. You're like, all right, that's fantastic. And before you make it, you're like, all right, we just want to make it. We don't care about playing time. We don't care about anything, right? And then they make it. You're like, all right, is she gonna play?
right.
On the team.
What are we talking about here?
And then they get in the game, and you're like, all right, great. Any more? Like, come on now. And Macy played a ton. Like, I'm just doing this in humor, but then you're kind of like, it's really not her position. I mean, let's be honest.
So what is she playing? I should ask that.
So they play a diamond,
Okay.
and she was playing the center right side or center left
Okay.
of the diamond. And then she did get some at the attacking mid, which is her favorite, but just being on the field is impressive. So she was she kind of told to shoot the ball if she gets an opportunity. She took some shots last night. She's been pretty hesitant. I think she's just a little nervous, but
Yeah.
I think she's getting some confidence now where if the opportunity arises, they got some really good talent. So it's not like he can just go out there and start bombing balls all the time. So
Right. Yeah. You want to make it work. Yeah, that's what Amelia's been playing as attacking mid as well. She's been playing midfield, so that's where she starts. They have a couple girls play forward, and then she's in that mid position, so that's a little new for her. But I think it's a good spot for her too. I think I don't know. I know Macy has played that quite a bit, but I think that's good for Amelia to learn that one and play that position. So
Whoa.
what?
When we go back to club, now we're going to have to fight it out. Just great.
Right. No, her preference is the 9. Her preference is the top of but she's been very open to playing this position. I think it makes her a better player to do both. So
100%.
yeah,
When you get pigeonholed, and I say that lightly, but when you play one position, and then you get to this highest level, and all of a sudden they're like, "Listen, we have somebody there.
right.
You got to play somewhere else. You got to be prepared." And so it's nice to jump around. I know.
Yep.
Sean, our coach, has moved girls around, and usually you stay a forward if you're a forward, but anywhere from, I don't know the numbers, but the 9, the 10, maybe the 7 or 11
Right.
over there. I don't know what they are.
I'm sorry, but let's just talk about the numbering for a second. The numbering in soccer, it doesn't make any sense. I would love to know the history about why they decided to put the 4 and the 5 as the center back, and then it's and then it goes 1 and 3. It's like just go goalie 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just work it across the dang field. I don't understand this bouncing around. The 9 is the top, and then you get the 7 and the 11 on the side. It's like just move it across. There's no rhyme or reason to the numbering. I would love to know the reason why they are numbered the way that they are. I'm sure there's somebody out there like Joe that can tell us.
I'm sure it's because it's from England. But yeah, you're right. The 9 is like way up top, and
Yep.
then the 10, and then the 8, and then where's the 6 is?
It's back in there somewhere.
And that the problem is on good teams, right? Like our club team, they go by number.
Right.
I'm like, Macy, how'd you do? I played the 10, I played the 6, I played the 2, I'm like, perfect. What does that mean? Like, where were we on the field?
Right.
It's just, I got nothing.
Yeah.
And they send out videos, and I've watched videos, and I've tried, but it doesn't make sense. So why bother?
Just go in and have fun. Just watch. Well, hey, you got to stream.
Yeah.
You got to stream one of those then, for sure. You should just take the damn camera, set it up, and you don't have to say anything. Just twist that baby and let us stream.
So well, we'll talk after, but you got to tell me how to pull that off.
Yeah, it's not hard. You'd be fine. But what I'll show you is how to schedule it, because then you can send out the link in advance and people can be ready for it. They get, all anticipating, and then you just start it on that link, and then it goes. Like, you'll actually see there's people waiting for the link to start, which is kind of cool. Oh yeah. Build the anticipation.
Don't mess it up. So, but if I do talk, will it listen?
Yeah, you can even mute it though too if you don't want any sound. Like if all of a sudden things just go a little haywire.
I'm not muting anything.
But yeah, that'd be phenomenal, because I know there's a lot of fans that would like to see it, and I'd like to see it, and then it just opens it up to other people to, now what you got to check with is if your team is okay with streaming it, because then it's out there for everybody to see. So it's game film. They might be able to find out some stuff.
If I go as a fan if I go to the Spash game, I can film, right?
Yeah, you can. I mean, I don't know any reason.
This is America. This ain't the USSR.
Right. It shouldn't be a problem, I don't think. Most schools don't really care. So yeah, you should be able to.
No.
Now, if they have the only reason that would be a problem is if they did sign an exclusive rights with, let's say NFHS, then you would have to be careful, because sometimes schools do have exclusive rights where only NFHS can broadcast their games, and they have cameras set up to record everything. And in that situation, if they have an exclusive rights, then you got to be careful. But most don't have that.
No, and one of the parents asked if I was going to do it, so I'll just say that because he asked, I said yes.
There you go.
So
go for it. Yeah, especially if it's a game where they don't have it.
Well, right. I don't know how to do all the fancy pictures, but maybe you could help me out with that.
Oh, you'd be fine. Yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll talk about that. So yeah, I mean, it's a really fun start to the season. The only thing that's really been frustrating, I don't know about for you, but it's just the weather, right? We've had so much snow. Our softball girls have gotten one game in, but they've had a couple canceled. Baseball's had games canceled. It's and I know this has happened around the WIAA, but it's just a bummer, because that's really the struggle with spring sports is you're trying to get outside. Everybody's fighting for field time to try to find something, and then games get canceled or pushed back, and so it's it's just like everybody wants it to go, but it's not happening. So that's the thing I've been noticing that's been really frustrating around, not just with Spash, but anywhere.
Well, and it's happened here. We've had our field's been open for 2 weeks. They plowed it. They plowed, I think, Notre
Right.
Dame. They plowed all the fields around here to get going. But there's some community outliers that they didn't do that, and they had to cancel games. And
Yep.
Funny, because I went to the lacrosse game on Sunday, and at Bayport, the snowbank was like right on the sideline of the out of bounds.
Right.
So the ball kind of rolled up and down. So they ended up pushing it back a little bit for the soccer game last night. But it was 36 and then a headwind and missed. I mean, it was worse than our Chicago tournament.
Ugh.
It was so bad, and we were so cold. And then I think there's the uniform is shorts and jersey. Now you can wear stuff underneath your jersey, but I don't think you can wear it underneath your shorts. Can you? Can you?
I think if it's a solid color, I think you can.
Okay. There's a lot of them. I know Macy didn't.
I will say this. The WIA does a good job, or high school athletics in general, of just being forgiving when the weather sucks. They're not like, they'll even let them wear hats and stuff. Like, usually you can't do stuff like that, but when the weather sucks, it's like, okay, cut these girls and guys a break. Like, you just got to do something. But you know what's kind of interesting? Something I learned, and I never really thought about it. Do you know why softball can't play when it's really cold?
Break a bat?
Yeah. I didn't even really think about that. But their bats will shatter, or they'll crack or whatever.
It's funny. I was stopped at a customer today, and he was saying that his daughter broke a bat recently. And he's like, "This is a $300 bat.
Yeah,
these things they're not giving them away, and they get cold and they break." I'm like, "What the heck?"
Yeah, you never really think about it. You're like, "Oh, I'll just play," and they're like, "Well, we can't. We'll break all our bats." I'm like, "Oh." I didn't think about that. I think it's like 35 degrees or maybe it's 40. It has to be above a certain temp for them to be able to play. Otherwise, their bats are in jeopardy, which is kind of crazy.
We played in rugby once we played Marquette from Milwaukee, and it was snowing and cold. And somebody said that we should put Vaseline on our legs because it'll keep us warm. And all I did is I turned it into a mess. I had Vaseline everywhere.
Does that actually work? They talk about that in NFL games.
It did.
Really?
Work, but like I got tackled, and the guy's like, "What the hell is this?" And he's like, and I'm like, Vaseline.
You were like in old school. You're Blue, who was doing that oil wrestling. That's what you were doing.
It wasn't really like that. It would have been better opponents.
That's funny.
But yeah, so that was, and then tomorrow night it's supposed to be 40 but sunny.
Yes.
And then like you said, it takes off. It's gonna be 60, 70. It's gonna be beautiful.
Can't come soon enough. That's what I'm saying. It's gotta start getting warm. We've earned it. So
we have earned it.
Yeah. So a couple of things that we wanted to talk about. Do you want to talk about the basketball?
Oh yeah. So, first off, we watched the boys' game. That was a blowout, and I had San Diego State in my pool.
Did you really?
Well, it was a different pool. So I go down to a friend's establishment on Thursday before basketball, and you can buy teams. And so I gave him $20, and you pick out of a hat. And I picked San Diego State. That's the only team I bought, and made a little money.
Wow!
But could really, really use that game. But I turned it off at halftime because I knew it was going to be bad.
It was ugly.
But Sunday, I went to dinner with my parents and my kids, and Jackie wasn't feeling good, so she's texting me. She's like, this women's game is horrible. The refs are terrible. So I got home and I watched the highlights, and then the controversy with Caitlin Clark and the young lady from LSU.
Angel Reese, I think it was.
Around the court, Angel Reese doing the old whatever this means. I guess I've never done that.
John Cena thing.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Is it John Cena?
It's like you can't see me or whatever. Huh?
But don't you think you'd do this?
Yeah. Peekaboo. Very different.
And then she pointed at her finger, but she kind of stalked her.
Yeah.
And I went on Twitter and everybody was up in arms, both sides, right? And then they said, well, Caitlin did that the day before. And I went back and I watched the video and she did it, but she did it to her own bench.
Right.
And she did it for 2 seconds. So I just thought, my personal take is, you just won a national title. Why are you going above and beyond for this?
Yeah.
And then you've taken everything away from your team and your school, because now all people are talking about is Angel Reese and her antics. Which sucks.
It does. And I think what's the most frustrating for me is, without getting into anything, it's like it just seems like it became a racial thing. And for me, it wasn't a racial thing. I don't care what color they are. The part that bothered me about it was, like you said, if you see the video, she literally followed her around the court for like 10 yards. I mean, like followed around, yelling at her, pointing at her finger, ring finger. It's like, come on. And listen, I wouldn't care if she walked over, like if she was doing that on her own end and like doing this and, celebrating, whatever. I don't really care. But when you chase down another player and then, I don't know what she said, the lip reading didn't look to be very kind. But it's like, I don't know. It just didn't seem. And if it would have been Caitlin doing it the other way, I wouldn't have liked that either. Like I don't know. It just didn't seem like a really good. And then after the game, they kept talking about Caitlin. Like they were interviewing LSU and they were talking about Caitlin Clark. It's like, dude, you just won the national championship. Stop talking about Caitlin Clark. Just talk about you. You guys they played really, really well. They had a great game plan. They played well as a team. Their bench was amazing. I mean, that one girl had 22 points off the bench. And she hadn't scored in like 2 games. I mean, so they had played a flawless game, in my opinion, to do what they did. They didn't need to talk about Caitlin. Caitlin had a good game. That's fine. But they were a better team. They were better that day. And, Caitlin said that afterwards, too. Like, they were better. So, I don't know. For me, I'm not a big fan of the trash talking. I get it's in the game. But it's just the way that it was done. It was like chasing down players just to yell at. It's like, I think to me, what it reeked of Caitlin had a really good tournament and some players got jealous of that. And so they really wanted to announce that they were better than her. And it's just like, come on. She 2 things can be true at the same time. You guys can be a really awesome team, and she had a really amazing run.
She's by far the best player in college basketball in the tournament. I mean, and probably, I think this season she was phenomenal. But like you said, at the end of the day, your team won.
Yeah.
Go celebrate.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry about what Iowa does. I thought Caitlin did a nice job of fending it off, just talking about her team. Her interviews were fantastic. I think every young athlete should watch her interview of how to handle yourself when they're talking about you, and she deflected everything to team.
Yeah.
Like, that's impressive at that age.
It is impressive.
Yeah. And God, LSU rolled. They were
they crushed
the UConn of the men's tournament, and LSU, like that. Like, you listen to what we talk about UConn, and it was how good they were and how they destroyed everybody. And then you get to the women's, and it was 10 million people turned the women's game on, like the most ever.
Yeah. Listen. Go ahead.
I was going to say that I heard the championship game tickets for the women were more expensive than the Final Four tickets for the men. That's never happened.
Wow. Well,
so they were like $400 a ticket.
And listen, again, all the credit to LSU. They deserved it. But the reason why people were watching that game was people got on the Caitlin Clark train. She got people so excited to watch girls sports. I'll be real honest. I haven't watched women's Final Four in probably ever. I mean, I've watched little snippets here and there. I just generally don't find the game that interesting. And I watched some men's, but I couldn't stop watching. Every time I knew she was on, from the Elite Eight to the Final Four to that, I was like, I want to watch Caitlin Clark. She's fun to watch. Fun to watch. So I think part of the reason why people were so frustrated is because they really liked the way she played. They wanted her to win, and it didn't turn out because the LSU was better. They just were. And so that, people were like kind of disappointed in that. So I think it's kind of like she was like America's little girl. And like when they saw that she was maybe getting picked on a little bit, I think people reacted heavily to that. But again, LSU deserved it. They played better. It's just like, act like you've been there before, like Barry Sanders, just toss the ball to the ref and be done with it.
Yep, and move on and go celebrate.
Yeah.
Yeah, but their coach is very eccentric too. The outfits. So my problem was, if you watch the game, they got Caitlin on a technical, which I thought was a terrible call. It's a national
I didn't
championship
like
game.
it
You
either,
don't
but
call a technical foul, but you do what you do. And then their coach is running it on court, and it's like, come on now. If you're going to call it, call it. And that was my thing. Like football, love watching football. And if you're going to call it in the first quarter, call it in the fourth quarter. That's all I ask.
right. Yeah. The one thing I'll say in defense of the refs there, I think if you take a ball and you throw it like she did, she kind of whipped it behind her after a foul. And that's the key, right? They just given up a foul. She took the ball and kind of whipped it back. I can understand how they would view that as being like a delay of game or unsportsmanlike. And so I understand kind of why she got it. Um, it still was a little bit cheap, but it's like she shouldn't be chucking the ball just because she's frustrated. So
100%.
yeah,
It's on her. I mean,
yeah,
she drew the foul, so it's on her.
yeah.
And so yeah, that's the most I've ever talked about women's basketball in my life.
Hey,
But
but
it's fun to watch. Fun to
I'll
watch.
tell you what, they need more girls like Caitlin Clark. And actually even the Angel Reese thing, that whole like what am I trying to say, rivalry that kind of brewed there, because isn't Caitlin Clark a junior? I thought she was. I mean, so that could be back next year. I mean, you could end up seeing these girls again. I thought that was kind of cool for women's sports. I thought that was, it was exciting. I mean, that's why a lot of people like the men's game, because it's really exciting. It was really exciting.
Well, to be honest with you, if Caitlin Clark is a junior, I could see her coming back, because what I'm reading is, so you can get drafted by the WNBA and you can make like okay money. I mean, it's like 80 grand. I think it's not big money, but some of these
Right.
players in the NIL are making 100, 200 grand a year playing college ball. So why not draw that out as long as possible? Especially, I think Caitlin Clark and probably Angel Reese, with the right marketing team, they both could make a ton of money off this.
For sure. Yeah, and that's the thing. I actually looked into this before the game, before the Final Four game. Caitlin, they estimate that she makes well over $1 million in NIL money with her recent endorsements. She's a junior. They said the starting or the average salary, or like the average, I think it was salary, or maybe it was the higher end salary in the WNBA is 250. So she's making four
Yes,
times what she would make in the WNBA. It's like, I think she's fine sticking around.
she's sticking around.
She's sticking
I
around.
mean, and it's good to see the women taking advantage of this too, because it's always talked about the men or the boys getting all the money.
Yeah.
And I hope it trickles down to more athletes. Because I think this proved a big point that people are willing to watch. You just got to put a good product on the field, like in men's sports too. I mean, nobody watches losers,
Right.
but and I hope so, because I think if the longer kids stay in school, the better product they get on the court or the field.
Yeah, and I know NAL is kind of the talk of the town right now. I actually think that there are some arguments that you could make that NIL could actually help out certain schools, and I think it could help out in this case, like women's athletics. I mean, there's been a number of women's NIL deals that have been really, really good, and that's something that, like you just said, never would have happened before. I mean, talk about giving them an opportunity to capitalize on their name and likeness. Man, that's been really beneficial for a number of women athletes in college sports, and she's definitely one of them.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden Iowa's on the map. All of a sudden the transfer portal perks up for Iowa if Caitlin's coming back. Why wouldn't you want to transfer in? The women's game forever has always been the number one seeds. And you start your bracket, though it goes 1-1-1-1, and then the final four, the ones meet, and then the two
Right.
ones. But this year was a 3 and a 4 or a 2 and a 4.
Yeah.
Even in the men's game, a 9 and or 8 and a 5,
Right.
4.
Whatever.
At this. But it's. I was excited to see that it wasn't just the best teams. Like,
Yeah.
people have a chance.
Yeah, I like that too. Now, I will
watched
say,
Miami.
yeah, it wasn't the best final championship game that I've ever seen. It was kind of a blowout, but but it was nice to see different teams in it. That was kind of cool.
And that's the product of the underdog, right? You're an
Right.
underdog for so long until somebody steps on you, and then you
Yeah.
go your way. But even at the
Yeah.
women's game, I watched Miami. They have two TikTok stars that I paid
Oh,
attention to.
really?
So I watched them. Yeah, oh yeah, I watched them a little bit. I mean, not a lot, but they're pretty good too.
Oh, was that the Twins?
Yeah.
The what's their names? It's like
Didn't pay
an
attention to
interesting last name or something.
that. Yeah, but they've marketed themselves in a way that people pay attention.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember their names, but it's Cavender. That's what it is. The Cavender twins. Yeah, I've heard of them. I didn't know much about them, but anyways, no. So that's the other side of NIL. I think there is some good sides to NIL. One of the other things I think could be potentially a good thing for NIL is think about it this way: if you had a guy that or gal, either one, that was let's say let's just use Alabama football, right? So they have tons of really good players. They might be kind of tapped out on NIL, whereas Bowling Green might have some big donor or some NIL where they might be able to draw a talent over to them that they wouldn't have been able to before because it was just scholarship money or under the table money. But now they've got the ability to, draw them. They're like, hey, you can come here and be the star, get more NIL money. It has a way for them to recruit in a way that you couldn't recruit before. So I think there could be some positives to it. Where I have an issue with it is the NIL with the transfer portal combined really creates a lot of volatility. But
Well, it's the 97 Marlins, right? When they bought everybody and then they won a series.
yeah,
If you're a Marlins fan, it's the greatest thing on earth. Why not? But if you're everybody else, and that's kind of, then again, the Yankees done it forever.
right.
You wonder how. I still think good football is good football. Georgia, Alabama,
Yep.
Wisconsin's taking advantage of a new coach who's taking advantage of the transfer portal themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to find out the deep pockets because every college has deep pockets. Everybody's got the graduates that have made crazy money that are like bored. Look at Michigan State. They paid the coach. They brought in a new football coach, and they paid him, or I forget what sport. No, was it football? They paid him gazillions of dollars, and none of it came from the school.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. But hey,
I was not around when I went to school, and you either, I'm assuming. I mean,
no.
I'm not saying you took under the table money, but if that had been offered, I would have. But no, I was under there all day waiting.
Just for anything to fall off the table, I was waiting.
Even a free burger,
Yeah, but no, it's
you go. I was gonna say you go back before NIL. Remember Ohio State when they sold their rings, and
yes,
then they got suspended, or they got free tattoos and they got suspended. And I'm like, that's where the NCAA lost me. I'm like, it's their stuff,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. No, I don't have a problem with NIL. I think it's fine in general. I just think that there's going to be some adjustments to it that need to be made to make sure that it's not just a complete and utter free for all. But no, it's to circle it back. It's nice to see people like Caitlin being able to take advantage of it. I think that can be a positive thing. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
I wanted to tell you, last podcast you mentioned your fees that you had not paid, your
Oh
calendar fees from the club. Yeah, I was
yeah.
at the soccer board meeting, and I did ask a question on the minutes if one of the particular members paid, and they said not yet. But you have an update?
I did pay. I thought of it today, and I had a moment at work where I was in like my prep period, and I was like, oh, that's right, I never paid that. And so I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, you got to send a Venmo, and then it wouldn't work at first, and then I tried, and I was like, I finally found the Venmo, and I was like, I got to get this paid, so I did pay it today. So hopefully my daughter can not be booted off the club.
I will make sure to ask that it gets put in a record We don't need to be missing her, all right? We don't need. Yeah, they can kick you out of the park, but your daughter plays.
I'm gonna have to run laps, I think, when I get there.
Right.
They're gonna make me run.
The club thanks you for your money.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. $1,000. Oh, that was so good. But yeah, so I did pay it. I got that taken care of. I'm not in delinquency anymore. But yeah, it was good.
And you're out money.
Yeah, it's just money, right?
You make it every day. What are you drinking today?
That's just some tea. Nothing fun. You have water, I have tea.
Yeah, we're old.
Got to work
It's a
tomorrow.
work night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else is new? Anything? Let's see. What else do we want to chat about?
Well, first the glorious head of hair.
Oh yeah, as I said to you in pre-show, I look like I should have a trust fund somewhere. So that's what it's like. I'm blowing a trust fund somewhere in another life with this hair. But yeah, it's getting pretty long. It's getting pretty. It's I walked down the hall the other day and one of the teachers said, "Whew, your hair grows really fast." They, I'm gonna keep holding it on because if I tell you if we could pull this conference thing off, they get to cut it. So we'll live stream that too. That'll be a good time. But yeah,
You wear a visor nice. I'll tell you, you wear a good visor.
yeah. I liked it during football.
I don't because I get the crossbands a little tight up here, so all of a sudden, not a good look.
I like the visor. I'm a big fan of the visor. You know who could wear a visor really well? Steve Jones. That bastard.
He could wear it. Yeah.
Yes.
He looked like a football coach.
He
He
looks.
looked like like whatever he's doing now with the book and everything.
Yeah, and I say that with all love, but I just, man, when I called him a bastard.
It's true. It's flat out true. He's a gorgeous looking man.
He's a good looking dude. Dang it. It's just.
I'm not just saying that because hoping he comes on our show.
Right, but I mean,
just
think about this guy. He's probably one of the best high school coaches ever in Wisconsin. Good looking guy. He's got a successful program. It's like everything's turning up roses for this guy. But good for him. He's good people's.
He's probably got bunions or something that pisses him off. I hope so. I hope he's got one thing like he's like, oh, like I don't feel like getting out of bed today because X.
Right. Or he's got like some what movie was that? Happy Gilmore, where he's just got a guy that heckles him all the time, just follows him around, heckles him. He's got to have something.
Speaking of that, there's a great Netflix series out on golf.
Did you watch it? I haven't watched it.
I'm on like episode 3. I just finished. I did. Oh God, Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas, and then Brooks Koepka was 2, and then 3 was the Englishman. He went to live golf too, but it was pretty interesting because they follow him around. And it's kind of a behind the scenes look at how they play, and they live the life. Private jets, podcast life.
Yeah, well, their job is to play golf, so I mean, don't get me wrong. I know it's difficult. It's difficult, but it's also like that's what most people do to relieve stress and have fun, and they do it for a living. So
Yeah, I got kicked off my golf team last year.
That good, huh?
Yeah, well, I put the team together years ago, Thursday Night League, and then we moved to Monday Night League, switched courses up here, and then soccer schedule really drags my golf time, so I got a call that I was not invited back.
Good. Ouch.
I told them I didn't want to be. I cried.
Right. Do they listen to the show?
I hope so. I hope this hits them right in the feels.
They
don't care. They don't care 2 bits.
You should go after them right here on the show. Just put them on blast.
Well, rumor has it when soccer's over, I might be invited back. So, yeah,
So are you a big hitter? Are
they're not very good.
you're a big hitter? Are you a chipper? What's your strong point?
I used to hit the ball well, and
Okay.
then gradually went to hell. I played in a golf outing last year with a couple of guys, and my first 4 tee shots combined didn't go 7 yards. I forgot how to play golf.
Wow. So you didn't have to play
Sent
with like your
coaches
pants
packing.
around your ankles, did you?
No, it was a charity event.
Okay.
So,
So that was
and if that
frowned.
was the case, I would have taken my pants off. It was so bad.
Is that frowned upon? Should I not have done that? Uh,
It's funny because one of the guys I played with is a realtor, a friend of mine, and he built a brand new home, beautiful home out here near me, and he put a golf simulator in his garage, and
wow.
it is amazing. So one of the big snowstorms, we couldn't get to work. We made it to his house, and
Of course.
he's got this. The scanner's above you, and he's got this plastic thing on the scanner, and I'm like, whatever, reads the ball. I'm like, what's that for? I mean, like, it's like way up there. And he's like, it's a couple $100. I don't know. They told me to buy it because it's protection. Like, well, that's a waste of money. 3 shots later, I hit the ball, went pew, and he's like, holy crap. Oh,
Uh,
my buddy almost took out a window. He's like, all right, fellas, I think we're going to wrap this up.
his wife was probably like, get them out, never let them come back.
Right, but we played out at in California, and then we played Amen Corner at the Masters, and then that is awesome.
That's pretty cool. Huh. Is it like surround, like the whole video is around you?
No, it's just a big screen, and then you can hit from an area, but it's your ball. I mean, every time I hit it went like this way and then that way.
It's very accurate.
And then and then he putts and everything goes in, and I putt and I 30 yards past, so it's definitely accurate.
Huh. That's pretty cool. Man, he's got that in his garage. Good for him.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Huh.
Fun money.
I could actually almost be good at golf if I did that. That'd be kind of crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got a son that's pretty into it, and they go out and play. I think his daughter plays a little bit too, but
Okay.
yeah, not me.
Golf is one of those games that you got to have a lot of time and a lot of money to be really good at it. And to have a lot of time, you probably have to have a lot of money. I mean,
Just kind of all goes together.
if we're being honest. I mean,
Same in pickleball. You gotta have a paddle. I mean, that costs. Pickleball paddles are expensive.
really?
I bought one 3 years ago at Shields. It was $60, and I'm like, holy crap! And then I figured out I had the cheapest paddle.
I'll be honest. I finally watched some videos of pickleball. I've never seen it played until I watched those videos. It's just big. It's just big ping pong. That's all it is. Just
Well, you could put it like that, yes, or it's an athletic game of skill and talent.
well, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's still athletic and talent, but it was just. I looked at it, I'm like, oh, it's just big ping pong. Okay,
Right.
it's fine.
I invited Joe, came up to the pickleball league last Wednesday.
With his special shoes.
I played in his paddle. He had a round paddle.
Oh my
Instead of a
God.
square one.
He's on a beach, by the
He's
way.
really
Jerk.
he's really good. Yeah, he's really good at pickleball. I played horrible, really bad, and he was out there doing his moves. I'm kind of like, I don't think this can work out, Joe. I don't think next week's in for you.
Yeah, go back to your beach, wherever that is.
Yeah.
God. All right. Well, yeah.
He's been
I saw he was on a beach again this week. I'm like, man, that guy just rubbing it in.
living my life, living my dream. Actually, I'm not a beach guy, but I wouldn't mind going to Florida for a couple of days just to get out of the cold.
Yeah, it's true.
But did you find and I was going to bring this up earlier, we were talking about high school sports. So we go from club which is a really tight knit group of parents, right? I mean, we have a great group of parents,
Hmm.
a great group of dads, great group of moms, and the moms cheer. You know, we do our thing. We've got resident Jake who comes in and gives updates on the rules. You know, Joe's involved. Everybody's involved. Then you go to high school, and we sat there and watched the game. Like I was gonna clap, and I'm like, I don't even know if I was so quiet. Like Jackie's going nuts.
Yeah, it is definitely a different environment. That is for sure. And I think a lot of people are just kind of like we're new to the team because we're freshmen, and same probably for you. So you don't really know many people because it's a totally different environment. I think by the end of the season it'll probably be a little different, and by the time you guys are a couple years in, it'll be pretty good. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's a very different environment, very quiet.
Yeah, I'm hoping to change it early and fast. Um, I found the boys lacrosse team when they have home games, they have a local establishment that the dads go to called Duke's. And I talked to one of the dads on the soccer team, like, we need an after bar, you know, for the dads and moms. Kids,
Hmm.
probably doesn't work out. But just to talk, you know, maybe talk about strategery
Hmm.
or other things that happened. That's kind of what I'm rooting for.
See how it can help the coaches out. Yeah, I'm sure they'd appreciate that. The
I'll probably invite the coaches.
Yeah, there you go. But no, I think a cowbell is probably needed too. You probably should get a. I hear those are really popular with a lot of teams. They love them.
They gave them out at the opener.
What?
They gave out little yellow cowbells.
Did they have vuvuzelas too?
They didn't. And the
Ah,
cowbells I weren't. There was like a chain, not a bell. Um, Me and my buddies each grabbed one. Then I think we gave them to some kids, so they had two. I wasn't going to carry it around, but I was very surprised.
hmm.
Very surprised at the cowbell.
I think you should get some cowbells for sure, and then maybe a triangle or something. Get some loud noisemakers. Really liven the place up.
Yeah.
I think that'd be good.
Hey, have you watched the Bucks games?
I'm not gonna lie. No,
Any?
not really.
Okay. Well, Gruber Law Offices out of Milwaukee.
Heard of them.
One call, that's all. Yeah. So we are at the Brewer game, and we were going up to check out the club level, and we get in the elevator. There he is, Gruber himself.
Wow.
And my buddy Brad, God bless his soul. He
You almost killed him there.
he's
Jeez. Wow.
still alive. But he says, Gruber Law Office, one call. And then he stops. And Grubes turns around and he goes, one call, that's all. And I'm like, easy, big guy. Like,
Wow.
whoa. Yeah. And he was an angry man.
That
And he
dude,
was really angry
he's
at that
probably
point.
heard that a zillion times.
Oh, that's what I told my buddy. I'm like, you don't think he's heard that 75 times walking in the last 20 feet?
Yeah.
But he deserves it. You know, right? What are you doing walking with the common folk? Go up the back stairwell where you belong.
That's true. He's probably got some coin.
But I also said my buddy should probably get it right. He probably wouldn't have been as angry. He's like, I spend $4 million a year on commercials, and you can't even remember my line.
That probably did piss him off a little bit. It's like there's probably somebody that's been telling him our branding isn't working. And he's like, oh, it's working, it's working.
Right?
And then he gets this guy,
Everybody knows it.
and he's probably just like, oh. He's a he's
Uh,
he's an interesting looking guy. I would have never been able to know who that was. Hmm.
yeah. Oh, yeah. No, you see him enough commercials.
Okay.
His big teeth.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything, but they stand out.
Yeah, he's got beautiful teeth.
Yeah, you can tell they're probably not real, but it's okay.
The hair kind of looked unreal. Little plugs. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm spouting off, but
Well,
that's pretty close to him.
we're just used to Jake's hair. Nobody compares to Jake's hair, so
Yeah, I didn't like to bring it up.
yeah.
So beautiful.
So we did order some cleats for Amelia. I don't know what we bought. Apparently Sarah told me we bought some, but apparently I can't glue them anymore. That's what I've been told.
Do you know what she got? Did she listen to the podcast? Did she do the right thing?
I don't know. Sarah said she picked them out. Amelia is so picky though, dude. We were at Shields, or not Shields, Dick's, because they have the 20% thing. we were in there for I don't know how long, and Amelia tried on like 18 pairs of shoes and hated all of them, and we left without shoes. I mean, we were ready to buy shoes, and we left because she's just so. And then they decided to buy some online, and I'm like, yeah, that's going to go over well. We're going to get those shoes, and she's going to hate them, and then we're going to have to send them back, and it's going to be a mess. But I'm just here for the ride, so.
Yeah, well, at least you didn't put stars on them or something like my kid. They weren't going back, but you know what? They work great.
Did you get them? Are they amazing?
Yeah, yeah. I forgot. I'll grab them.
She can
I'll send you a photo.
She can lace the ball with it, Emma.
Yeah, they got gold bottoms.
Wow.
Yeah,
probably real.
Yeah, we were all in. Yeah, this podcast better start paying off. Nike wants their quarterly check from me to get these things paid off.
I bet. So I'll keep you posted on what we got. I have no idea. But yeah, something. She'll get some new ones, and she needs them. Her shoes, they are brutal.
God, so bad.
They're so dirty and like cracked and broken, and like they're barely holding together. They're bad. I should send you a picture of what they look like. They're horrible.
Here's Dad. Like, we can get another year out of them.
There's truth in that. I would love to deny it, but it's true.
Do you know the price of your cleats, or do they keep that from you, or do you know?
I don't, but if I had to guess, they're probably around 100. If I had to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because there are things like growing up, my mom would be like, "Don't tell your dad. Like, don't your basketball shoes. Don't tell your dad."
Yeah.
Back then, $90 for a pair was outrageous.
Yeah.
But I had to have them.
I run all the finances, so I'm going to find out sooner or later. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes
at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, right? It's not like you're going to stomp your feet and send them back. I mean, you're going to.
Well, and I don't know if those of you that haven't looked for cleats recently, you're hard pressed to find a good quality pair of cleats that's under $70. I mean,
they don't exist.
It's pretty tough to do. I mean, back in the day you could, but it's not anymore. It's pretty tough. I mean, there are some decent ones sometimes for around 50 if you find them on sale or something, but you're going to pay at least 50, probably 70, and most of them are close to 100. A lot of them are 150.
Yeah.
And it's not atypical to get 250, 350. I mean, they can get expensive quick. So,
well, we're not going to talk about that.
I'm just trying to make you feel better.
You did. Now, I was on the high end, but my kid is happy.
Hey, there you go. That's all that matters.
Hey, if I didn't listen to this podcast, I wouldn't have bought the fancy cleats to FGs. No.
AGs, right?
Is that what they are? Yeah, artificial ground, AG.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Hey, maybe we should be able to, we should be an influencer. Like, I was just reading, doing this for my class, micro influencers where they influence people to buy certain things. Nike should maybe give us a little kickback on this. We put a little description in, get a little, get a little pub their way. Maybe we should send us a little check from Phil Knight.
It'd be nice. I'll reach out. I'll send him an email that because of me, you bought shoes, and then because of you, I bought another pair.
Right.
We'll say.
Right.
To make it up. And then our soccer team all bought Nikes, and then they'll show up and everybody's wearing Adidas.
I think we bought Nikes, but it's one of those things. So I don't know.
I'm an Adidas guy. I've always liked Adidas.
I do too. I don't know. I think they're a better soccer shoe, but Amelia switched over to Nikes, so.
Yeah, they had a pair of Pumas.
Ooh.
They were awesome.
Isn't that what Pele wore?
But, no.
No?
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I will say, Willie Adamas and the Brewers had like a pair of Jordan sneakers on that had cleats on them. Those are pretty cool. They look like tennis shoes.
That is pretty cool.
They make them into cleats.
Huh.
Yeah. For the fancies. Probably didn't have to pay for them. Maybe I'll reach out to him, see if he wants to come on.
Hey, there you go.
I wonder what he's doing.
Let's do it.
And one of the things for those listening, if they know anybody that wants to come on, let us know.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I mean, like a weird tie to somebody. I mean, be honest with you, I reached out to John Mino via Facebook, and he just said, sure.
Yeah.
was great. And our guest tonight was through, somebody you knew.
Yep.
So she'll be on next week is the plan, and that'll be our biggest guest yet, right?
Yes, that'd be big. It'd be really nice if it would happen. And honestly, I will say this though. I sent you a text. I'm actually kind of nervous about it because I don't want to screw it up.
Yeah, we were kind of a fly by your seat of your pants type of podcast, and I don't know if that's going to work. And I'm like, if we get to a half hour with her, is she going to want to go longer?
I hope so. That'd be nice. I mean, I have so many questions for her. There's things I'd like to find out. And she's such an interest. I mean, I was thinking about it today. They're almost kind of like the royal family of when you think about all the things we've talked about, they've lived all of it to the nth degree. So I don't know.
I'm just afraid I'm going to sit here and look dumb while you're talking and all these great questions, and I'm just
yeah, we'll be good. We're going to be, you know what? Positive self-talk. We're going to do great. It's going to be amazing.
We're going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It'll be our last episode.
Probably. Get canceled. That'll be great. All right.
Let's go out on a bang. All right.
Just make it happen. What else? Anything else we were going to chat about here? Holy cow, we've already been doing this an hour. That's crazy. I'm sorry to those people to the 3 people who are still listening. We apologize.
You're our favorite.
Yes. Yeah, you 3 are favorites for sure. All right, so next week, hopefully a good guest. If you have any suggestions for the show, tell us who we should interview. If it's not you, then tell us who. And then that'd be fun. We'll see if we can track them down, and then spam them on social media so that they answer our inquiries to be on the show.
Do our work for us would be amazing.
That would be great. All right, awesome. Anything else?
Yeah. And that'll push our live back one week, hopefully. But
good one.
We got to have time to prep for our live, right? Because we got to get it out there on social media. We got to be ready because we hope people interact. Because it's not a live if it's just me and you.
This is true. So thank you for the reminder. We now that we will start to do that right after we actually have our next guest. We'll start to promote that on social media, and we'll have the link because remember we can do that now. So we can actually publish the link in advance so people can get ready for it. We'll tell them the time that we're going to go, and then people will be able to join and mock us and do all kinds of stuff. It'll be fun.
That sounds amazing.
It's gonna be great. They can make fun of my hair and my visor and tell me I look like a trust fund baby, whatever it is.
I want to look like a trust fund baby. I want to be a trust fund baby.
That would be nice. I'm not gonna lie. All right, Toby, let's get some sleep, man.
Yeah, awesome. Good night.
We'll see you next week.
Perfect.